Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, please click on like and subscribe. If you've been here before, welcome back. In today's video, I'll show you how to make a chevron pattern cutting board step by step. This one's a little bit thinner than the usual ones I make, just under 3/4 of an inch finished because it was a custom order, but I'll show you if you want to make it a little bit thicker and heavier how to do it. You want to basically add a 1/4 of an inch to whatever size you want thickness. So if you want a 1 inch thick board, start with 1.25 inch material. When you build a cutting board like this, remember every time you cut, plane, glue, sand, you lose material. I begin by trimming the rough edges off of the board so I can flip them over and get a clean square edge for glue ups. You can trim both sides if you prefer, but one side is clean enough for this project. Keep in mind you'll also lose length throughout the process. I started with 24-inch boards and I end up with an 18-inch finished board, just under 13 inches wide. So you need to add at least 5 or 6 inches to your finished length that you want. So if you want 18 inches, start with a 24-inch board. For my strips, I set the table saw to about 1 5 inches wide. That gives me enough room to plane them to 1.5 inches later and still have clean edges. If your joiner planer doesn't leave perfectly smooth cuts, leave yourself a little bit of scrap for margin. I'm using a 10-inch cobalt table saw and a wind planer and joiner, nothing fancy, just solid, reliable tools. If you have higher-end equipment, you'll get cleaner cuts with less sanding, but this setup works great for DIY working projects at home. Once all the strips are cut, I'll run them through the planer until they get a consistent thickness and width, and then I'll join the edges to remove any small gaps. And before I do that, I just want to check and make sure I've got enough strips cut, because if I have to cut more strips, my saw is already set, and I can make more strips if I need to. Always good to double check. So I'm going to pop these in the planer. We're going to run them all through to 3/4 of an inch. Make sure they're all the same thickness. I'm going to flip them on their sides. I'm going to set the planer to 1.5 inches, and I'm going to run it down to the point where it just barely touches, and that'll leave me enough room to joint any final edges that I need to get them perfectly straight so they go together good. A quick tip, mark each board inside and outside and keep them in order. When you glue them up, alternate inside and outside edges. This cancels out any slight angle error from your joiner fence, keeping your panel perfectly straight even if your fence isn't exactly 90 degrees. I'm also adding a number to this so I know which board is which. Again, I'm marking them inside and outside. So board 5 outside, board 5 inside, board 6 outside, board 6 inside. I'll show you in a second. Basically, you just flip them back and forth on the joiner if you haven't done this before. Again, this keeps you from ending up with a bowed board. So for example, my fence is actually set to 89 degrees and not 90 degrees. When I take the board and do outside to inside, it will counter the difference in the joint, making the joint 90 degrees again. So if I'm 1 degree off one way, I flip it around, I'm 1 degree off the opposite way, I end up with a 90-degree joint. So it's time for the first cutting board glue up. I'm going to get all my clamps, braces, glue, everything I need ready before I start. That way I've got it at hand. I've got a couple pieces of hardwood with tape on them to keep them from sticking to the glue. That way I can put pressure on the ends of the board in the middle of the board and keep anything from bowing out of place. Spread the glue evenly across each piece. I like a little squeeze out, enough to show coverage but not a waterfall. Slide the boards back and forth a little bit to make sure the glue coats both sides of the wood. If you move at a steady pace and have everything ready, you've got plenty of time to adjust things before the glue completely dries. Here's a pro woodworking tip. Make a 22.5 degree gluing jig. It's like setting up for 45. It's basically half the angle of 45. By butting the boards against this jig during the glue up, you already have the first angle cut and save material when forming a chevron pattern. I didn't know this the first time I did one. I had my board straight, cut the 22.5 degree angle, and ended up with a big triangle of basically scrap material. I think I ended up making a gentleman's tray or something out of it, but it sat around for quite a while before I figured out what to do with it. Once glued, apply light, even clamp pressure. Tight enough to hold, but not tight enough to bow the panel. Tighten evenly, flip it over, add a few clamps the opposite way. And I usually keep a damp rag handy to wipe off any extra glue. Saves time when you're sanding later. A little bit more cleanup now. You'll still have glue to clean up, but not nearly as much. After drying overnight, remove the clamps, scrape off any remaining glue. Before cutting, I want to make sure my board is flat. Any glue lumps, uneven spots can throw off your table saw angles. I'm just using an 80 grit sandpaper to flatten the surface and remove any rough glue residue. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it has to be smooth enough to not cause any bumps on your table saw. I next use my DeWalt miter saw to cut a 22.5 degree angle on one end, the same side that I was gluing up against the jig. If your board is too wide for the saw, you may have to flip it over and cut from the other side. For any leftover edge material, I just clean mine up with a hand saw. So at this stage I have about 21 inches of usable board. I'm going to cut my chevron segments at 2 inches wide. That'll end up with an 18-inch wide board for me. That's just what I'm going to go with. If you want 3-inch wide chevrons, you do 1.5 inches. If you want 5-inch wide chevrons, you do 2.5 inches. Completely up to you. Now, since this is an angled board, it's a little more tricky than what you normally push through, because normally you're pushing through straight material. If you have not done this before, again, if you watch the video first, make sure you leave yourself some extra room. Try a couple smaller cuts before you try cutting your main cuts. It does take a little bit of practice to get used to cutting at an angle on your table saw. You can also use a sled for this, or you could set up a jig to make it easier for you to cut this angle. Label each piece as you cut it, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, so you can reassemble them in that order later, or if they get dropped or moved, you can put them back together. Flip every other piece end to end and form your chevron pattern. Now this step's important. Different hardwoods like walnut, cherry, maple cut and sand differently, so take your time when you're fitting the joints together. If you don't have a joiner, you can use your table saw or sand really carefully until they fit flush with each other. The flusher they get, the better you're going to be on your finished product. And we're going to do just like we did previously. We're going to do the inside out method and join all these up. When running end grain through a joiner, use push sticks, maintain steady, even pressure. Don't force or go too slowly, as it can cause tear out, especially in the mixed woods. You can also get uneven depths on your wood. So your cherry is softer, it may dig a hole in the cherry and leave the walnut and maple straight, causing you more problems. So nice, steady, even pressure. If you feel comfortable, you can actually use the inside outside of each one and run 2 pieces through together, so you're actually joining them at the same exact time. And just make sure your joints are nice and even. Do a little sanding, clean up anything you need to. Once your edges are perfect, we're going to glue the chevron sections together. Now when you're lining these up, line up the pattern carefully. Just a 1/16 of an inch off can throw off the whole design, and there's no fixing it. Let the glue sit for a minute until tacky, then press the pieces together to help prevent the chevrons from sliding out of alignment. Clamp it evenly, check for shifting, let it dry overnight. Again, do not put too much pressure on it. You don't want to create a warp or a bow. Make sure everything is lined up before you finish clamping it down. Once your board is dry, remove the clamps and remove any of the clamping boards that you have on there, and we'll get ready to sand it. So what I forgot to mention earlier was that my last board in the lineup, number 8, I did not join the outside edge of it. So my last board is actually a little bit longer than the rest of the boards. So the other boards are 2 inches. That board's about 2 1/8, a little bit over 2 1/8 inch. And I'll tell you why in just a minute. The next thing we have to do is trim off those chevron points. Now before we do that, we want to sand off all the glue residue. Glue on the surface can throw off your saw blade, angles, even leave marks or burns. So we want to clean this up first. Once again, a planer is not necessary. You could just sand this, take your time, sand it, get it flat. You do not need a planer, it just makes life easier. Keep the sander flat, avoid digging in any high spots. Some woodworkers mark sanding passes with pencil lines. Once you've sanded enough boards, you will feel when it's smooth. The pencil does help you if you're new at sanding. Make sure you sand the entire area without missing any spots. For things like cutting boards that would sit flat on a countertop, you need to make sure the surface is perfectly even. That way it doesn't wobble or spin on the countertop. You want it to sit nice and flush. When trimming off the ends, make sure you take small cuts to keep control and get the edges straight. Stand slightly off to the side for better stability. At least that's what works for me. We're going to trim one side of the board, flip the board, trim the other side for symmetry. And make sure you use the side that you sanded on the bottom. That way you're not using the glue side, again, throwing your table saw off. In my last cut, I'm just setting up to my final dimension, which is just under 13 inches, so it'll fit in my planer. When planing, remember that this is in-grain wood, so there's always a risk of chip out or blowout. I left one piece slightly longer. Again, that was that number 8 board. This is why, as a sacrificial part. If a chip out happens, it'll be the piece on the end and not my finished edge of the cutting board. That way I can trim it off to where it's even. Now when running this through, I'm also taking off very, very fine passes. That usually keeps you from having chip out. If your blades are nice and sharp, it should come out perfectly. But again, with end grain, there's always a chance that you'll blow out the end of it. It made it out nice and clean with no chip out or any problems. So I'm just going to take that end board and cut it down to where it's even with the rest of the boards. Then I start sanding. I go from 80 grit up to 220, keeping even pressure and a flat hand. Don't force the sander, let it do the work for you. If there's a little glue or light burr, lightly smooth it out and don't dig in. Don't use the end of the sander, as tempting as it is, to dig it in and clean it out. Keep it nice and flat and work steady. Once it's smooth, I wipe it down with a damp paper towel to raise the grain. If the paper towel catches or snags, sand it a little bit more. Also, while you're doing this gives you a good time to check for glue squishes. Since this is a cutting board and a finished surface, if you have any glue squish out or any pieces of glue or blobs of glue that you missed, they'll stand out now. So you can actually see them with the water on there, and you can sand any problems down before you put oil on it and realize that you've got to do a little bit more sanding. Now the customer didn't want a juice groove on this one, but you can add one later if you want to. I'm going to put a light chamfer on the edges. You can round them over if you prefer, or whatever edge you want, or you can leave them straight. You can also laser engrave names, designs, whatever fits your style. And yes, you guessed it, one more round of sanding. I finished with a 220 grit. It's perfect for cutting boards, smooth enough for a professional look, but still open enough to absorb oil. For finishing, I use a food-safe mineral oil or butcher block conditioner. Sometimes I'll soak the board in mineral oil for 24 hours. Other times I just apply 2 or 3 coats by hand and finish with a conditioning wax like Bearded Chef. That will give the surface a nice soft sheen and help protect it from moisture. And that's our finished Chevron cutting board. Let me know what you think. Drop a like, hit subscribe, share how you finish your boards in the comment. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next project.